Hey everyone, Dockwell here, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at an offlane tier list for patch 7.29D, and it looks like this patch is going to be around for a while because the next patch didn't drop before the qualifiers, the TI qualifiers, so now we have like a month of qualifiers before TI, so this patch will probably be relevant now for another month. So yeah, I'm just going to make a tier list for every single one, and we'll probably get them all out this week, and so you can look forward to that. Now, I'm just going to jump into it, but before I do, I'll just say what I usually say, is that I'm going to combine the pro tier list or the pro meta with pub meta, just kind of trying to mash it together, because sometimes the pros and what they're picking, it's not always in line with what's good in pubs, and so obviously most of you that are watching this are probably going to be pub players, so you know I kind of want to give that more consideration as well. So it's sort of just all lined up in there, and if you disagree with something, as always, just let me know and leave a comment, and maybe we can discuss it or something, or maybe I can change it. As always happens when I look at this tier list, I'll like see something every time, and I'll be like, nah, I'll move this up, no, I'll move this down, that kind of thing. So in any case, without further deliberation, let's just jump into it. So first, we have S tier here, and we'll start with Broodmother. So Broodmother recently was changed to have the spawn spiderlings be level 6, so her ultimate, and then she has the lifesteal, and now she has a lockdown skill with Silken Bola, and so she kind of got an extra skill because now the lifesteal is like basically her old passive is like built into this as well in some ways, and like her ult is built into it, so it's just like basically she the old passive is built into Silken Bola, so she basically like has a targeted lockdown spell that also gives a mischance, and then she has insatiable hunger that gives bonus damage and lifesteal, and then she obviously has her webs and her spiders. But the thing about this is you can just lane this hero normally in the beginning of the game, and so it's kind of just like every other hero where you're not spawning spiders until you hit level 6, and then once you hit level 6, you become really, really strong with this spawn spiderlings. And so because of that normal laning, now you have lifesteal, you have like a lockdown or a slow that does mischance, you just become impossible to kill in lane almost, depending or if you have the right heroes, or like you're against a bad matchup, then you can get killed, but it's still really, really hard. So you have a really good laning stage. And then the thing about spawn spiderlings is they allow her to spawn more spiders much quicker. So even if they all die, you can get like a ton back really, really quickly. And so it just makes the hero extremely overpowered. So if you want to like learn a cheese hero, Broodmother is the one to learn right now. Obviously, I discourage you from doing that because I hate Broodmother. Everyone hates Broodmother. It's not a hero that anyone wants to play in their games. But if you want to play a cheese hero, I would suggest playing this cheese hero. Because she's just so strong right now. So next we have Mars. So we just take a look at him. He's just basically a good all-around hero. He's good at initiating with the blink, with his slow, with God's Rebuke, and then, locking somebody down. He's good at controlling a team fight, all of these kinds of things. Relatively low cooldown except for the ult, but he's just all around like really, really good right now. He can do a lot of damage. He's picked a lot, so he's like a quintessential offlaner. Has really, really good matchups in lanes and those kinds of things. Just kind of your normal good offlaner. He can be a little bit hard to play in terms of like skill shots, but I feel like once you get to learn those skill shots, it's not going to be that hard. So there's not too much to say about him. I mean, you probably know his abilities. It's pretty simple. It's just he's pretty good right now with all of his stats and abilities and all the numbers and everything. And so he's been being picked a lot, and he's pretty good because he can do damage and team fight and all that kind of stuff. And then next we'll move on to Axe. And Axe is a hero that is really, really good because Vanguard is really, really good. In fact, they even like nerfed Axe and Vanguard, and he's still amazing. So I'm putting Axe up here in S tier as an offlane hero because he still is an offlane. You obviously get your Vanguard, and then you get Blink and all that kind of stuff, and you do a lot of damage. But the other thing is like he's also S because he's so good that he's actually being played as a carry now. So I didn't really include him in carry because if I remember correctly, maybe I did, but I don't think I did because he's really just an offlane hero. It's just one of those things that you can tell when a hero, it's like when a mid hero is so good that they also get picked in 4 position because they're like just so good, or even offlane because like their kit is just so amazing. They're so good at what they do. They lane so well that they can play like other positions. It's similar here. Like he is so good that he can play carry because he just dishes out so much damage. But in pubs normally, like you should just pick Axe as an offlane, and then you become like a second carry because you can lane really well. You get that Manta, you get that Ags shard, and you just do a ton of damage. And so that's mainly the thing about this hero is Vanguard is really, really good you just rush Vanguard and you like take no damage. You can tank tower and stuff like that. And then eventually you get your Blink Dagger, you get your Manta, and then you get your Ag Shard, and you just do like insane damage. Like you call one person, they're like dead. You just jump on the carry, you call them, you Manta, and then you just start attacking, and the carry's just like insta dead because of that pure damage. So those are my S tier heroes. And now we're just going to move down to A tier here. And we have Bristleback, and I think Bristleback is almost like Axe, where Vanguard is just so good that like this hero becomes unkillable. You can do a ton of damage, and then you get Ags, and you just like, start spitting everywhere, and everyone's insta slowed, and like you do a ton of damage. I just think that this hero isn't really. It's just a little bit. I was considering putting it in S tier. It's just like a little bit lower than that. It's not like this high rank, and there are some counters. There are ways that you can shut this hero down in lane and other things like that, and then it becomes not as good. But still, Bristleback is just really, really good. If anything, he might even be an S tier hero. And then next we have Doom. Doom is just really good because, I mean, Doom is just Doom. Like, he's just the classic Doom. Two things. He's like Alchemist, where he just gets insane farm because he has an innate farming ability. And then two, Doom as an ability is just so good. Like, you just Doom one hero, and then you take them out of the fight. If the game goes 30 or 40 minutes, you get Refresher, you Doom two people, and then the game's just, like, over. So, it's just one of those heroes that, like, I've played against this hero recently, and I stomped him in lane, like absolutely destroyed him. I killed him twice or something. He left the lane, like I didn't even see him. And then at 30 minutes, he has like Blink, Ags, Refresher, and like one other item or something, like Shiva's or something. I'm like, what the? This hero's insane. I go back and look at the net worth. He was like I was top net worth. I was playing carry, and he was like second in net worth, and he wasn't even laning. Like, this hero's just insane right now because of his innate ability to just like farm. He can jungle. He obviously consumes that creep with his ability and those kinds of things. So Doom is just really good right now. And then next, I think these are almost like it's kind of weird because these are like a tier lower, but they're still above these heroes, which is Timbersaw. If you know how to play him, if you pick him in the right matchup, he can just feel insane. He can feel unkillable, and he can do a ton of damage. It's pretty straightforward. It's the normal Timbersaw way of playing. You get up a few levels, and then you bully the carry out of lane, and then you just like take over the game, take towers, and no one can do anything to you because of your armor. Obviously, he doesn't like burst magic damage, but then you can always buy your hood or your anything like that just gives you extra tankiness and those kinds of things. So it's just a really, really good hero right now. And then we have Tide, and Tide is really good because, I mean, he's just normally good in the way that Tide is. He has this Ravage and all of those kinds of things. But the other thing is there's a lot of like single target stuns. I haven't done my 4 and 5 tier list yet. I'll probably do them in the next couple days. But heroes like Lion are really good, or even any Nyx, any single target stuns, those kinds of things. And Tide is just really, really, really good against those kinds of abilities and heroes because he has his Kraken shell. And so you stun him and you try to kill him, but he's tanky and he has a lot of health, and then he just purges your stun and runs away. So he's pretty good against that. There's illusion heroes that are kind of meta, so he's decently good against that. He can jump in, Ravage, he does his Anchor Smash, all those kinds of things that he can do as well. So he's just a pretty good offlaner. He's kind of one of your standard offlaners, almost like Mars. Mars is like the standard offlaner. Axe is too, but Axe kind of has special things this patch. But like Mars, Tide is just that standard offlaner that's like really good this patch. So that's my A tier. And then we're going to move down to B tier here. And we just have Dawnbreaker, just completely like OP. This hero's stupid, honestly. It's so good. It's impossible to kill. It feels like it does a ton of damage. It lanes so well. I think it's probably going to get nerfed before it is allowed into the pro scene and those kinds of things. But I just feel like this hero is really good right now. But I wouldn't say he's like, or she's like overpowered. I mean, maybe I should move her up into A tier. I could even do that. I mean, I could even move her up here. It's just that she's not being picked in pros because she's like not available yet. So, but I think she could even be A tier here. And then next, actually, we have Enigma, Darkseer, Centaur, Magnus, and Prophet. And I think Enigma is one of those heroes that it's not actually that good right now in a lot of ways. It's just that this hero is pretty stupid in the sense that every time you play against it, if it's able to get farm, it just feels like you can... I mean, it denies range creeps, those kinds of things. It just feels like Black Hole's so good in a lot of ways. So that's why I put it here. It maybe could go down in D tier or something like that. I'm not sure, but that's why I put that there. Darkseer, he's kind of harder to play, harder to coordinate in pubs. He's also a good counter for like a lot of the meta heroes that people are picking in pros. So I always hate Darkseer when I see it on like a team in pubs, but in pros, he's doing pretty well. Centaur Similar to Axe and Bristleback in the sense that Vanguard is really good, so he's pretty good, but otherwise he's pretty standard. And then we have Magnus and Prophet. These two are almost like weird carry heroes that are off lane. We have Magnus, and I think Magnus, when you play him off lane these days, you don't really want to go for damage. You want to be for your like initiation, like blink, get the Ags shard. You want to, blink skewer people. You want to like get basically refresher instantly to refresh your ultimate. He's like an ultimate centric offlaner. And then obviously he has Empower, so he can get farm, but also so he can help his carry farm as well. So that's kind of Magnus. I would say he's not, I don't know, he's almost like more of a mid, but he can be pretty good offlane. I would just say he's almost like a more professional kind of offlane. Like every time I see this guy in pubs offlane, he just does nothing, probably because people don't know how to play him, because you need to like rush blink on him, use your ult off cooldown, probably try to get refresher or Shivas or other kinds of things like that. Basically be more of a less of a right-clicking hero when you're off lane and more of an ultimate-centered like team fighter when you're off lane. And then Nature's Prophet I'm just putting up here because he is picked a lot, but he's actually one of these heroes that's like weirdly transitioned into almost a carry. He pretty much plays more carry or is played more as a carry in pros and things like that. He can still be played off lane though in pubs and kind of transition into a carry, sort of like how Axe is played as a lot as carry, but you can just pick him as offlane in pubs because that's his traditional role and just be really, really good with him. So Nature's Prophet is similar in that sense. So that's my B tier. And then C tier, we have just kind of your standard offlane heroes. You have Night Stalker, can be really good sometimes. Abaddon can be like unkillable sometimes. You have Phoenix, who's been a really good support, but you can still pick Phoenix offlane. It's just not as good. You have Necrophos, who can just delete like a Spectre or something like that, which can feel good. Slardar can feel really good with like minus armor heroes like TA and things that are popular now. Sand King can be pretty good against certain heroes as well. Legion Commander is pretty good in pubs as always. Like it's just really, really good at picking people off if you know how to play Legion Commander. Elder Titan played more as a support, but has like a special build with the ability to use to get the free BKB and things like that in his kit. So he can be an offlane, just not always an offlane. Batrider, always a hero that can be good, but it just depends on the patch and depends on the matchups, those kinds of things. And then Underlord, he's just basically a standard offlaner. I would say he could even be B tier. He's not like the worst hero right now. He's just not the best. He's just kind of middle of the road. So he's still pretty good to pick in pubs, I think, because of just his innate kit is good. But in general, he's just not that popular. And then that's C tier. And then we have D tier here. And these heroes are just basically like, I don't know, Brewmaster, you just never see him. And even in pubs, like he's not very good because people don't know how to play him. So I would not suggest picking him. And like no one's really picking him that much. Then we have Pangolier. I feel like Pango is more of a mid, honestly, because he just feels so underwhelming sometimes when he's offlane. Like if he has a bad lane, it just can go so poorly and he just feels like another support, and he's just so bad sometimes. So unless you're like really a Pango spammer and know what you're doing, he's not that great at offlane right now, I don't think. And then Veno, just not a Veno patch. Sometimes Veno offlane is really good. I just don't think it's very good right now. People aren't picking it much. And then Earthshaker, similar kind of thing, more of a support, sort of like Veno, but even Veno support's not that good. But Earthshaker just feels more like a 4 position or some kind of support, not as much an offlane. Can be played offlane maybe in weird situations, and if you're really good at him, maybe you can get away with it, but just not that great right now. And then obviously, finally, we have our F tier, which is Pudge. Never pick this hero. This hero's garbage. It kind of sucks because this hero's like fun to play, and he's not like that annoying to play against. It's just that I don't know why Ice Frog hates this hero, so he just like sucks. So because his passive now gives like barely anything, it just gives magic resistance, he's just so bad at offlane. So like just never pick this hero offlane. It's just not good. I mean, even support, like so every time I have a Pudge support on my team, it just feels so bad. So Pudge is just a terrible hero in general. And then we have Beastmaster. Beastmaster, it's just a sad hero. They just deleted Necronomicon, and now this hero is just garbage. Same thing with Lycan. He did have an Ags build that you could do once they nerfed Necronomicon, and that was like huge, and he was basically S tier for a while, but then they nerfed that into the ground pretty much, and now he's never picked, and that doesn't really work anymore. It doesn't stack like it used to. The axes don't stack anymore like they used to. So he's now completely trash. He's just a garbage hero. Never pick this hero unless they honestly, they will probably do something else to this hero before he ever gets to be picked again, because unless they reinstate or like put Necro back in the game, but I just feel like they won't. So yeah, he's trash right now. So that is my tier list for the offlane for 7.29D. As always, let me know if you like the video. If you have any disagreements, leave them in the comments. We can discuss. I'm happy to do that with you. Like I said, even with how I changed Dawnbreaker, I saw Enigma heroes. Like, maybe Enigma should go down, all those kinds of things. Every time I look at this thing, I change 1 or 2 heroes around a little bit. So, but that is my video. That is my Offlane tier list. And like I said, as always, like, comment, subscribe, those kinds of things. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.